Hi everyone and welcome to English Digest. I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we're going to talk about our topic-based writing unit, our second one for this month. And this is a topic writing unit that gets writers to talk about the fictional characters that resonate with us, that kind of, they feel like, yeah, this guy or girl or animal or whatever is kind of like me. Do you have any characters that resonate with you like that?
Not that I can think of, but I think when those characters' lives can reflect ours, and that's when we feel we can resonate with them.
Okay.
Because we might feel more understood, more seen.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, when I like watch a movie or more often read a book, I tend to like the characters think like, oh, this one's really like this one's cool, and it's more like I want to be like that rather than hey, this is me.
Oh,
I have to yeah. So my favorite
different.
my favorite characters are generally the like either the really cool ones, especially the sort of cool villain ones, but ones like me. Thing is, if I list off a few, then they're most likely going to be from somewhat more like fantasy series that people won't have known. But the character of not everything about them, but so the characters of Kvothe and Locke Lamora, because they are both performers. So I go, okay, that character resonates with me because of the aspect of just feeling natural on stage in front of people. I get that.
So have you ever created a character that's actually you, yourself?
Oh, right, yeah. Like almost a lot of the main characters that I've created in my own fiction often take one aspect of me and sort of dial that up a bit. I have one character who's like, he's confident to the point of arrogant, me. So he's like often a bit sarcastic in his, he says stuff that gets him in trouble, me. He's short and sometimes feels a bit like resentful of tall people. Me. So, yeah, okay. I've taken several aspects and put me
not just
in.
one.
Yeah,
several.
he's got a few. He maybe doesn't have some of my what I'd like to think of as redeeming qualities.
Did you add some personality that's what you really want?
Yeah,
that you can have.
Yeah, a lot of writing is also wish fulfillment.
Right.
He's a lot kind of cooler, and it's a fantasy story, so he's like better in like a fight than I would ever be. He's smarter than I am, I suppose, because I guess I make up his ideas, so we're about equal.
So you said you've created a lot of characters that's like you.
Different aspects of me. Yeah, that kind of thing. Anyway, the instructions for this writing unit are to choose a fictional character with whom we identify, to go, that person and me have something in common. He, she, it is like me. Now, in the first paragraph, we should just simply describe that character's appearance and personality. But in the second, we should explain why we identify with this character. So what you want to do is mention things in the first paragraph and then draw parallels with your own life in the second, and we'll see how a couple of examples do that. The passage should be at least 120 words in length.
今天的提示说到的是呢，我们在阅读文学作品或是观看影集电影的时候，很容易会将自己投射在其中一个角色上面，仿佛呢在他的身上看到自己的影子。请你写一篇英文作文，描述一位曾经让你产生共鸣的虚拟角色。文分两段，第一段你要描述这个角色的出处以及其外观或性格上面的特色。第二段呢，你要解释这个角色让你产生共鸣的原因。那文长呢至少是120个单字。
So for the first paragraph, we'll be using descriptive language, some of it about appearance and some of it about personality. You're concentrating on what this character is like. I would say you're not going to resonate with a character's appearance very often. You're not going to go, I like this character because that character...
I look like him or her.
Maybe a little bit, and maybe that's what draws you to them at first. If you see them on screen, like, hey, that's like me. Yeah, but really you want to spend more of your words talking about the personality because that's the bit that's going to be resonating.
Yeah, more it's about their personality or their personal experiences.
Exactly. So in the second paragraph, you'll be using first person, personal stuff, drawing connections between this character and you.
再来到了 develop and approach 的地方，第一个我们要注意到的是什么是叙述文。那叙述文呢，是一种运用非常广泛的文体，常常出现在大考的作文题目当中。常见的类型有第一个描述经验或事件，第二个描述物品，第三个描述人物。那本单元叙述的是一位让你产生共鸣的虚拟角色，所以是属于对人物的叙述哦。
So the first part is a fairly common style of exam question asking writers to describe something. In this case, it's a fictional character you identify with. So a lot of the techniques we talk about here will apply to other descriptive essays.
再来第二个，写什么怎么写。英文作文的架构基本上分为引言 introduction、主体 body 还有结论 conclusion。那本篇叙述文也是用这样的架构做发展的。
As always, you'll need to think about an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Your second paragraph will also need a topic sentence, so don't forget about this while you're planning your essay approach and making your outline.Introduction
是文章的引言，说明文章要探讨的主题动机。全文的主旨句也就是 thesis statement， 常常在第一段就会点出来。那在描述人物的文章当中啊 ，Introduction 可以有以下几种方法来写哦。第一个就是直接说明你要描述的人物是谁。那第二个是简单说明你对这个角色的看法或者是印象。
So with your introduction, you could just start by describing the character, where they're from, what TV show or book, whatever, without any personal stuff, who it is, what they look like. However, I would suggest that you use the first-person perspective quite early on, like character X is my favorite character, or I really identify with character X. This will establish the connection between you and the character straight away and let the reader know this is what the essay is about. It's about a comparison between me and them. It's a personal essay.
是的，所以这边建议的是呢，你直接写出来，你觉得哪一个 character 哪一个人物跟你是最有关系关联的。那再来到了 body 文章的主体，必须要叙述许多相关的细节，也就是 supporting details。那细节呢，必须和主题相关，要使主题生动，让人家印象深刻。那根据本篇的提示呢，主体可以大致分为两个部分，第一个就是对这个角色性格或是外表的具体描述，那第二个是确切的点出这位角色使你产生共鸣或连结的原因。在确认好主体内容之后呢，你可以将所需要的资讯写进对应的段落当中。
So the body is where you put all your details. The first paragraph, you're basically making a sort of list of appearance and characteristic points. Like I said, though, don't spend too much time on the appearance because that's not what's going to resonate with you. There is a point in the second sample, our advanced sample, where the appearance part is used to connect to character, and I will mention that again. But generally, you want to spend more time on the character and experiences of the character, the personality and the experiences, and not just what they look like. Do set up things in the first paragraph you will refer to again. So make sure that what you're going to write about is the stuff that reflects your life. Get that parallel in. If your second paragraph talks about some different stuff that you didn't mention in the first paragraph, then your essay is not going to look very well organized.
是的，那我们在描述外表的时候啊，是可以的，但是不要全部都写外表，我们应该着重在这个描述角色的性格或是他的自身经验，然后再跟自己的做连结。那再来到了 conclusion 的部分，是文章的结论，说明意义、体会与影响。那再次简单强调这位角色和主题的关系，对你产生什么样的改变，或是带给你什么样的感受，好，这些你都可以写。那这种方式的结论呢，可以使文章结构完整，也可以呼应第一段。
So don't add anything really new in your conclusion. Just wrap things up by mentioning the key point or saying this character has some kind of characteristic that you aspire to have. You could talk about how you want to change to be more like this character or less like them if it's not such a positive characteristic. So this is where your approach is really key, because in your approach, as you're figuring this out, work out the parallels first, because it's much easier to do that in advance than like go, okay, what am I doing when I'm writing it? I'll describe him first. Oh no, now I have to go back and change stuff.
那接下来到了 brainstorming 的部分，你要依照提示把要求所需的这些素材全部都条列出来，那再来就可以把它变成 outline 大纲了。
Yeah, now here you're making notes about the character. You don't need every single detail, just the main points. If you try to put in every point, you're going to run out of space. So find the key stuff, find the stuff that parallels you, find the personality points that you resonate with. And again, more about the personality than the appearance. So for our article, we've kind of got the info presented a little bit like an RPG character sheet, if you've ever played an RPG.
角色扮演游戏。
Yeah, so we've got the character, Ash Ketchum. Ketchum, I'm never quite sure. But it's the main character of the Pokemon series. Everybody recognizes this guy. His looks, a normal-looking 10-year-old boy, spiky black hair, wearing a baseball cap, backpack, and a jacket and jeans. Now, there's some good points there, but that's all you need. Don't add more stuff on that. Personality is more important. Caring and selfless puts his Pokemon's needs first. So those are the two bits you definitely want to match. So we've now got the reason I feel connected to the character, his strong relationship and trust between him and his Pokemon, which reflects caring, selfless, puts his Pokemon's needs first, and a similar experience between me and my dog, Loki. So again, putting the dog needs first, being caring, being selfless.
那这边呢，我们写下来的 character 角色就是小智了哈，宝可梦系列里面的小智。那它是来自哪边呢？刚刚已经讲到了，是 The Pokemon Series。那接下来提到它的外表 looks， 它这边只写了3点，这样子就够了。好，说他呢长相就是一个平凡的10岁男孩，然后呢头发尖尖刺刺的，然后有戴一个棒球帽，有背一个后背包，还穿了夹克外套跟牛仔裤，这样子就已足够，不用再多加东西了。接下来要把重点放在他的 personality， 他的个性，还有就是哪方面你觉得是跟他有连结的。
Okay, so that's all the info we need to write this article. So we're going to take a short break right now, and when we come back, we'll look at putting this in a proper outline with longer sentences. See you in just a moment. Welcome back, everyone. Now let's put this brainstorming into the right order of sentences. Now, of course, this is just the outline, doesn't need the full details. We can connect these sentences and add a bit of colour later on. So, let's look at Ash Ketchum. We've got the introduction in paragraph 1. Ash Ketchum, the main character in the Pokemon series, is the character I can relate to. So great, we've got the first person stuff here. We've got the I, okay, the character I can relate to. And we've introduced the character and where the character is from. All the information is right here. We know it's a personal article, we know who it is, and we know what the topic of this article is going to be.
这里呢，我们要用 I 来当做第一人称叙述的文章，因为你要讲的是呢，关于你自身的想法或是经验。那接下来呢，就会到 body 主体的部分。
Yep, let's move on to the body, which is all the description. He seems like a normal 10-year-old boy. B, he has spiky black hair and wears a baseball cap, a backpack, and a jacket with jeans. C, Ash is one of the most caring characters I've ever known. And D, he's a selfless trainer and always puts his Pokemon's needs first. So we've got the sentences to cover the appearance as well as the personality. Now in sentence C, we've got another first person. The most caring characters I've ever known. So that keeps the character connected with the writer. So that's a really good addition there because it keeps the theme of this article alive.
那在第一段中呢，对角色做介绍，外表个性都有，也将角色和自身做了连结。那在 C 这个句子当中呢，他说到他是一个非常非常关爱人的角色，那他非常的无私。接下来你要提到跟自身的连结的时候，也要朝这个方面去前进哦。
So now we move on to paragraph 2, where our writer expands on the connection between them and Ash.Topic sentence, I feel connected to Ash because of his heartwarming relationship with Pikachu. Again, good topic sentence. We've got I, we've got Ash, and we've got the thing that really connects them, that parallels them, this relationship with Pikachu, his Pokemon. A, Pikachu didn't like Ash in the beginning. B, Ash eventually won Pikachu's trust through patience and care. C, I experienced a similar situation with Loki, a dog I rescued. D, we built a strong bond over time. So this is nice and logical, easy for readers to understand, and has very clear parallels in the two stories, personal story, TV show story.OK,
所以到了第二段的地方呢，他先说明他跟小智是有连结的。那为什么会有感觉到这样子连结呢？他接下来要说明。所以他一开始说呢，皮卡丘啊，他一开始是不喜欢小智的，那小智最后用自己的耐性和关心去赢得了皮卡丘的信任。那接下来他在跟自身做连结，他提到了他一只救援的流浪狗 Loki。他说我和 Loki 呢也是经历过一样的状况，就是跟皮卡丘还有小智一样的状况。那随着时间演进，我们建立了坚固的连结。好，所以从刚刚提到的第 C 这个句子一直到这边，它的重点都在讲小智的关心跟对人家的照顾，好让大家对他有所信任。
Just a note, I mentioned Ash as a TV show character. Now, of course, he's in games, movies, comic books, and loads. It just happens to be the first time I ever saw Pokemon was in the cartoon TV show, and that's kind of how I know him. That was what was on TV in the UK at the time. So, moving on to the conclusion,Ash's story reminds me of Loki and I, and it shows how love can create strong bonds. So we're restating the main point here with an extra message on the theme of the power of love and caring, which has been a theme all the way through.
是的，这个文章当中强调的就是 love and caring 这两件事情。
And of course, your outline has more details, transitions, and so on added when you turn it into a full essay. And as I always say, do all the hard work in your outline and figure things out before you start writing. It's much easier to fix an outline than it is a full sample. So let's start with our basic sample. Ash Ketchum, the main character in the Pokemon series, is someone I can truly relate to. A seemingly normal 10-year-old boy with spiky black hair, wearing a baseball cap, a backpack, and a jacket with jeans, Ash is probably one of the most caring characters I've ever known. He's a selfless Pokemon trainer, always putting his Pokemon's needs first, especially those of his best buddy, Pikachu. The reason I feel connected to Ash is his heartwarming relationship with Pikachu. In the beginning, Pikachu didn't like Ash, but through great patience and care, Ash eventually won Pikachu's trust. I experienced a similar situation when I rescued a dog, Loki, from the wild. Loki didn't trust me at first, but we built a strong bond over time, and now we never leave each other's side. Ash's story with Pikachu reminds me of my own journey with Loki, and it shows how love and understanding can create unbreakable bonds. So we've read through the basic sample, and it follows the outline pretty closely. It covers all the character details we've already mentioned in our brainstorming and outline. There's a bit more detail on the relationship between the writer and Loki and what they do now. They never leave each other's side, stuff like that. Unbreakable bonds instead of strong bonds. So we've got a few more cool words. And we'll look at some of these cool words right now.
OK， 所以呢，他这边有用到几个还蛮好的字，像是第一个 seemingly 这个副词代表的是看似，好，可以用在文章当中。那接下来他还用到了 spiky。来形容小智的发型是尖尖刺刺的黑色头发。那接下来形容小智的个性的时候呢，他用到的是 selfless 无私的。那相反自私的当然就会用 selfish 这个字。那接下来呢，他用到叙述事件的时候，他先讲了 in the beginning 好，一开始怎么样，那最后他用 eventually 来带出。那结论呢，他就说了 love and understanding can create unbreakable bonds. Unbreakable 这个形容词是不可以打破的，不可以打破的什么东西呢？ Bond 叫做连结。
Okay, so yeah, seemingly normal, which means he looks normal, even though, of course, we know that he isn't. He's this great Pokemon trainer character guy.
只是看起来很平常意。
Yeah, he looks like a normal kid. Baseball cap, kind of scruffy looking a bit, enthusiastic and so on. Now let's take a look at the advanced sample and see what's going on here. Advanced sample. Advanced sample. Nobita, the protagonist of the popular Doraemon series, profoundly resonates with me. He is easily recognizable by his round glasses, uncombed black hair, and rather unpretentious fashion choices, which include a basic yellow shirt and blue shorts. His disorganized appearance aptly reflects his clumsy nature. As an underachiever burdened by self-doubt, Nobita struggles with both academic and everyday challenges, only to turn to his trustworthy robotic friend Doraemon for support and guidance. My affinity for Nobita stems from the striking similarities between his hardships and my own experiences during junior high school. In that period, my academic performance was far from satisfactory, leading my teachers to label me as absent-minded and accuse me of not making sufficient effort in my studies. Consequently, I was often mocked and marginalized by my peers due to my awful grades, which resulted in feelings of isolation and a significant blow to my self-confidence. Nobita conjures up not only recollections of that painful phase in my life, but also a feeling of empathy, letting me know that others have faced comparable sufferings. As I persist in my personal growth and development, the story of Nobita serves as an invaluable lesson. We must refrain from judging or underestimating individuals based solely on their academic performance. We should acknowledge that each person possesses unique talents and potential that extend beyond the confines of the classroom. So our advanced sample is a lot more detailed. It's a lot more descriptive, but we've still got the first-person references, again, all through the first paragraph and in the first sentence. He profoundly resonates with me. So we've got that again straight away in setting up. Now, I mentioned that there was a point about the the appearance here that is related. So by talking about kind of unpretentious fashion and uncombed back hair, there's a parallel. His disorganized appearance aptly reflects his clumsy nature. So the reason we've used some of these words to describe him are because the way he looks relates to how he is. And maybe we can assume the reader is also somebody who maybe doesn't always comb their hair and doesn't always wear the most fashionable clothes. So in that case, the appearance is kind of a part of the personality, and the personality is what we resonate with.
是的，这边呢对角色人物外表的叙述比较多，比较具有细节，不过呢也连接到了他的个性。那再来他说明自己为什么跟他相似，为什么有连接的时候呢，他的原因跟例子细节也都提供的更多了。那他的用字也是相当的精彩。So let's look at some vocabulary here.
Yeah, another thing I do want to mention is that the first article had the theme of love and caring going through it. This one is the theme of not judging people by narrow standards and looking at them through their, like, what other skills they have, what other abilities they have. This kind of theme, not judging the book by its cover relates to the unpretentious appearance, but also to, people who judge, oh, your grades are bad, so you're a bad person. Don't judge people like that. People have got other things.
是的，所以在这个进阶的范文当中呢，它所 follow 的主题就是不要以貌取人。
So yeah, let's take a look at some of these words. This Nobby or however you pronounce it, is the protagonist. So he's the main character, the things, the events of the story happen to.
是的，就是主角的意思。
And it resonates, which is all we've talked about. Resonates, parallels, reflects, connects, that kind of thing. It's sort of him and me, we feel like when he rings, I ring, like a bell.
或者是 I resonate with 后面加上那个角色，就代表你跟那个角色是产生共鸣的。
So he's got an unpretentious fashion. So he's not trying to show off his style. He's not trying to pretend to be like, hey, I'm this cool kid. He's just like, no, I'm wearing whatever's comfortable. That is unpretentious.
所以他不会去假装，他是非常朴实的一个人。
He's also an underachiever, which means his grades aren't as good as other people of the same age. He's not doing quite as well.
成绩低落的学生。
Now we then say Doraemon is trustworthy, which means he can be trusted. He's always there.
值得信赖的。
So we've then got the writer talking about his affinity for Nobita. Affinity, again, that's like a liking, but also a connection.
So one's affinity for somebody, 那就是喜爱那个人。
And the writer says, like Nobita, they were mocked and marginalized. If you're mocked, people make fun of you. They kind of laugh at you. And if you're marginalized, it means you're on the outsides of something. You're not part of the cool kids group. You maybe don't have any friends or just one or two. You don't often join in the big games. You're one of the outsider kids.
所以 marginalize 就是排挤的动作。
Okay. We then say Nobita conjures something up, and that just means it creates, it makes this thing appear. When this character is there, I automatically think of these things and remember these things. It jumps into my mind.
使人想起。
And recollections are just memories.
回忆。
There's a feeling of empathy, which means like I feel what he feels.
同理心。
Then Nobita serves an invaluable lesson to not just the writer, but everyone. Something that's invaluable doesn't mean it has no value. It just means you can't put a value on it. It's like more important than can be quantified.
所以那就是相当珍贵的，你不能用一个价钱来衡量的。
And the message is it refrains from judging and underestimating people. So refrain from means don't do it. Don't underestimate people. Don't think people are no good.
所以就是克制，不要去做某件事情。
And they've got skills outside the confines or limits of the classroom, which means they've got other good skills that aren't used in the classroom.
所以 confines 指的就是范围。
We got some grammar to examine as well.
是的，第一个呢，我们要来讲到的文法小重点是 only to 加上原形动词，它可以表示预料之外的转折哦。所以呢，通常是让人家没有选择或失望的结果发生的时候，可以说像是呢 Sean spent the past 10 years looking for his real parents, only to find that they had both passed away. 上过去10年都在寻找他的亲生父母，最后却发现他们皆已离世了。那再来要讲到的是 far from， 它的后方啊可以接上形容词、名词或是动名词，表示绝非或是远不及。像是呢，我们可以说 Christopher's dreams of becoming a doctor were far from reality, considering his fear of blood and needles. Christopher 他对这个血跟针头的恐惧，他想要当医生的梦想其实是遥不可及的。
And that brings us to the end of the article. We're out of time, so it only remains to say thank you for listening for everybody. For English Digest, I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
We'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.